So, welcome tonight. It's 6 o'clock. I'm doing this live on Thursday night. The intention here is to catch you after work hours when you have a free minute to calm down and do this. Nothing's more important to me than family, so we'll keep this quick so that you can get back to your families because that's what we're all about here. But I wanted to catch you at a time where we could deliver some value and you had the headspace to absorb it and to receive it. You're going to ask me, what are you doing? You started with a slide that says action items. That comes at the end of presentations and webinars where people go tell you to do things. I operate a little bit different, okay? The best learning happens when it's self-learning. It's inquiry-based, it's self-discovery. So what I'm asking you to do as we kick off this webinar that's all focused on how your business can be more profitable and how you can make more money is I want you to start thinking now, before I start presenting my content and material, is there something that motivates you? If it does motivate you, if something does motivate you, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do with that motivation? Don't just let it sit there. Keep it in motion. Keep it moving, right? Laws of physics. An object in motion stays in motion until acted upon, right? So don't let your lack of planning stop something from being in motion. If you're motivated, there's motion to it. So you've got to do something with it to keep it in motion, or else that will stop it. The last one there, lowercase I, typo, I'm here to help. Okay. You find something that motivates you and you want to keep it in motion, reach out to us, reach out to me. I'll help you keep that thing in motion. Okay. That's what I want to do. What are we doing here? What's the whole point? This is a live webinar. I'm here to talk to you. I'm here to tell you a story. All right. Everybody loves stories. Don't worry. This isn't a waste of time. Stories are entertaining, yes, but stories are also the way that we have learned through history. Stories are the way that nations, that civilizations have passed on their most valuable pieces of information for centuries, for millennia. It's through stories. So I'm going to tell you some stories tonight about myself. I'm going to get personal. I'm going to get raw with you. And what I hope you get out of it is a happier you and a stronger business. That's what I'm looking for tonight. Okay. So a little overview of what we're going to talk about tonight. Who am I? Who is Jared Maben? Okay. What I said is I want you to be happier and have a stronger business. Why in the world would you listen to me tell you about that? Do I have it all figured out? No, but I've got some insights and I'm going to share those with you. And hopefully that helps a little bit. I'm going to share with you my story and my history as it relates to a company called Highland Homes. I'm going to talk about Highland Homes and what it did. And generally, I'm a storyteller. I'm going to go off the cuff. Am I winging it? I don't know if I'd say winging it. I've prepared some thoughts. I don't think I've been winging it for the past 30 plus years of my life, right? I've been living intentionally. And so I'm going to share that with you tonight. What I really want to do is get behind the curtains. I know what I hope you get out of it, but what you get out of it is up to you. What I do know is that I'm going to be super real with you. I'm not holding anything back. Again, that's part of why I kind of am following this off the cuff thing. I don't have a teleprompter in front of me. This is not scripted, right? I've gone through some thoughts in my head and gathered my life stories and events to kind of think through some of these things. But ultimately, I'm going to be real. I'm going to be raw. And I'm going to show you what I've done in my life and some of the things that you can adapt from that to help you achieve the same things. Okay. So who am I? Let's give you a quick introduction to Jared Maben. You see there on my screen, English teacher turned construction superintendent, turned business executive, turned coach. All right. If it looks like a ping pong machine, it's really not. It's more like a tree. I grew from one thing to another, each thing built upon the one that preceded it. All right. So what happened in my life is well, let's start here. All right. We'll go all the way back. I was terrible at school. Okay. We'll go way back. You can know me, Jared Maben, as an elementary student. I was the kid sitting out in the grass picking dandelions by myself, literally crisscross applesauce in the sunshine, picking dandelions off the field because I was so socially awkward. I was really shy and bashful. I had a hard time getting in front of people. That was really uncomfortable for me. I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself, right? And that transferred into the classroom as well. I struggled to learn how to read until late into middle school, okay? I was basically illiterate. I couldn't pick up a book. I remember the first chapter book I finished was in 6th grade. And I barely got through it. It took me almost the whole year to get through it. And it was a struggle. I was so proud of myself when I finally did it. So I went through that experience, and somehow by the grace of God alone, I promise, I graduated high school and did just well enough to get into college to play football. on probationary terms, right? They were like, hey, maybe physically, maybe you're good enough to do this, but academically, you're terrible. So we'll let you in with a mark against you already right out of the gates. If you can prove yourself, then you can do well. I loved athletics. I loved sports. They made sense to me. It was easier for me to function that way. So I got into college, and that was enough motivation for me to put in some effort in my academics. Now, when I got into college, I started to figure out things. I learned how to succeed academically. How did I do that? It was very easy. It was a 3-to-1 ratio I figured out. What does that mean? I had to put in 3 times the effort that every other student did to get the same grades, right? And this is no joke. I would sit in math classes and it just didn't compute. I couldn't comprehend or understand what they were talking about. Pre-calculus, and these weren't even like hyper advanced math classes. My first math class, I remember it was course 025, right? Like this is introduction to algebra. This is like sophomore level high school math, basically in college. I had to take that course 3 semesters in a row, early in the morning. I was there at 6:45 in the morning. I had to repeat that class 3 semesters in a row to pass it. I needed to pass that class so I could get into higher math classes because I knew I needed that to get some business credits. And I was fascinated by business, right? So I wasn't going to let that get in my way. So I got through that. I got through college. I finally graduated on the dean's list my senior year. By that time, I spent endless hours on campus in the library studying, graduated on the dean's list, 3.9 GPA. And then I decided, you know what, I'm not done. I got my degree in English because I couldn't read and it made me mad. So I got my degree in English, learned to read, loved to write, got into a master's program, and I started studying leadership, how to lead people and motivate and inspire them to do things they couldn't do, right, beforehand. So I get through that master's program, and then I jump into a doctorate program, and I say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start helping people collaborate. I'm going to find the most effective learning models I can for people to overcome their challenges and their weaknesses. I get into that, and I decide, you know what? It's time to try something new. I want to go apply everything I've learned. So I go and I start teaching, and I'm teaching students, I'm teaching kids, and I start doing this and I love it. But hey, guess what's still inside of me? Those business credentials, those business minor credentials, right? All those math classes I struggled through, all the accounting and management classes, all the ethics classes. I loved this business thing, right? And when I was teaching people, I got to lift and inspire and motivate, but I didn't get to innovate and create as much as I wanted to. In my curriculum, sometimes yes, but I wanted to innovate. So I left that and I got into a small business. I found a small business. Now, mind you, when I jumped into this small business, I had started businesses before. Unfortunately for my wife, I have a really, really, really high risk tolerance. I don't know where that evolved or came from, but it's part of me. So I had emptied our bank accounts and over leveraged ourselves multiple times to start small businesses while I was going through my academic career. And by the time I got done with teaching and wanted to go really start investigating business, I didn't have any more leverageability left to start more businesses. So I got a job with a small business, right? To get inside and start learning the world of business applied rather than in a classroom. So I get into the small business and it's called Highland Homes. Okay. And this takes me, oh, this is my family. I don't mean to bypass them. They're everything. My family was part of this journey all along. This is us in Hawaii. When I was teaching, I remember I had no money. I was broke. I was teaching. I was happy, but I was broke and couldn't take care of my family. I remember sitting in the classroom one day and I was feeling devastated because my 7th grade students told me after spring break one year where they had been. And they said, our family went to Hawaii. And I remember I got a knot in my stomach and my heart dropped because I realized that I was never going to be able to take my family to Hawaii because my teacher salary wouldn't allow it. And I questioned my ability to produce something capable of getting my family to Hawaii. This is me with my 5 kids in Hawaii. There's a rainbow behind us, and I found a way to do it. And you can find a way to do it too. So, like I said at the onset of this, I want you to find happiness and success. However you define that is up to you. For me, part of that was getting my family to Hawaii. Hawaii's got very little to do with it. It was more proving to myself that I could provide something for my family that brought us joy and that brought us closer together. You can do that in your own backyard. And that's where we do most of it in our family. It's just right in our backyard around a fire pit. But here, I got my family to Hawaii. So that is all part of the story and a critical part of it as well. I'm going to keep track of my time here. I can be long-winded. So I jump into this small business, Highland Homes, right? Now, this is where we're going to get into some meat of some business stuff. And this is why you guys were here. You didn't come here to hear my life story. I understand that. You came here to learn how to get more profitability infused into your business. My life story is inseparable from that because my life led me to helping this business, Highland Homes, become infused with massive numbers of revenue that we never thought were possible before. So I get into this business as an employee. Okay. Mind you, I view myself as like only the second operational employee of this company. It's that small. Before I got there, the company had been in operation for over a decade. All right. And it had primarily been two people for the duration of that time. It was the owner and it was one hire that really helped to just execute the operations, the day-to-day operations of the business. And the owner kind of managed the finance, right? So they're doing this. Eventually, they decide that they're ready to start to grow a little bit. And so they bring in a salesperson and a marketing person. Okay. The salesperson and marketing person come in and sales go up a little bit. This is good. Sales go up so much so that that one person can't manage operations alone anymore. They hire me, right? So I'm the third person in to help manage operations, really the second hire and outside of the owner to manage operations. So we get in. I've been there for 6 months. And you know what happens after 6 months? I'm dreadfully bored. I'm bored to death, right? So what had happened is they thought it would be fun to see if they could grow and make more money, but all they did was infuse a better sales system to the company. So they go out and do some marketing and hire a sales agent to catch the leads. And of course, the leads come, the agent signs the contracts, and the company grows a little bit. They're just maintaining that pace. They've been doing that for a little bit by the time I got there. And I sat down and said, hey, this feels fun. I like this. This business thing is fun, but I don't see any direction here. I don't see any clear outcome. And for whatever reason, that naturally just didn't sit right with me. It was then that I learned that not everybody intuitively asks that question, where are we going? A lot of people wake up and just take it as it comes day to day. And as a new idea blossoms in their mind, they kind of tackle it and chase after it. And then as a new one pops up, they go after that one. And that's really fun. But for me, it was deeply unsettling. This might have stemmed from my lack of success academically. I knew that if I didn't have a clear objective out in front of me, I would very quickly feel lost and overwhelmed and confused and frustrated. So if teachers didn't set objectives for me, I started setting them for myself, saying, here's where I need to be by the end of the semester, by the end of the year to feel successful. That had become ingrained in me. So I get into this business and I think the same thing. Where are we going and how do we get there? So I ask this question. I bring in the owner. I bring in this operational manager at the time and I sit down and I say, hey, guys, what are we doing? Where are we going? What's the plan here? And we sit down and to my great joy, they get big bright eyes and they say, you know what? We don't know, but we want to figure out. We like that idea. That's a good idea. So we sit down together in a room and we start going. And this is where I learned, folks, that setting a vision for a company is not easy, right? In the first place, it doesn't come intuitively to most people to ask that question. Where are we going? Well, a lot of people it does, but not everybody. And you might not be one of those people, but it's a question that has to be asked if you want more success in your life. The second thing is that it's not easy, but guess what? It's really simple. Setting a vision for a business is not complicated. It's hard, but it's simple. And it's so simple because it only has two components to it. If you want to know what the vision of your company is, all you have to find out is where you're going and how you're getting there. That's it. It's two things, where you're going and how you're getting there. Why is that so hard? I'll tell you. If you are a sole proprietor in your business, it's really not very hard at all. It actually becomes easy because you only have one person's vision to align and it's your own. Now, if you've got more than one person and then a third person or a fourth person and you're giving equal voice to all of those people, it becomes really difficult. Not to have a vision, it gets difficult to align visions and make sure you're all thinking the same thing and headed in the same direction, right? So that's the complicated part. We went to work. There were three of us, and the owner of the business was open-minded enough to allow all three people to have an equal voice. I can talk for days about equal voice and consensus leadership. There's a lot more stuff I can share about that, and I will at some point if you keep engaging with me. But at this point, it works. You can have that. You can have three people with an equal voice if you're careful about it. The dynamic worked for us. So we went to work. It took time. It took a lot of time. But eventually, through great intention and great effort, we got a clearly aligned vision on the business, right? When that vision was set, it was ambitious. It was huge. And I was elated. I was no longer bored. I was so excited. I was ready to go. And now is when I'm going to flip over and show you this chart. It's the Build Better framework. This was developed by Highland Homes after years and years and years of growth and development. Okay. Building a vision is the first part. Now, this framework did not come about prior to us building a vision in Highland Homes. Highland Homes, actually, the owner, myself, and one other individual partnered together. There's three of us now that started Build Better after Highland Homes had reached a pinnacle of success within just the last year or so. We decided, hey, let's show other people how to do this. So we went back and investigated, how did we get the success out of Highland Homes that we wanted, and we built this framework out for people. This is exactly how we did it. And that first step there is we built a vision, right? Where are you going? How do you plan to get there? You notice it says belief mindset under that. That is the ability to ask that question, hey, where are we going? And believing that whatever answer you come up with, you can get there. If you don't believe you can get there, asking the question to start with is pointless, right? Believe you can get there, then ask the question, where are we going? Get that firm and aligned, and then you can ask, how are we going to get there? Don't flip those. Listen to me, and I will scream it from the rooftops. Don't flip those. You can't try to figure out where you're or how you're going to get somewhere until you know where you're going. Do that first. Figure out first and foremost, where is it we're going? And then you can start to have the conversations about how to get there. I have seen too many brilliant initiatives die on arrival because people tried to figure out how they were going to do it before they knew exactly what it was they wanted to do. Don't kill the dream. Build the dream out and then figure out how you're going to get there. And that can take time. Let it take time. Let it sink in. Spend full days after days solidifying that vision and getting it clear and singular. And then you can go to work picking it apart and figuring out how you're going to do it. If you get that switched at any point, it will die. It will die. Don't put the cart before the horse. Okay. After we had this vision and knew where we wanted to go, check my time here. All right. After we check our vision and we know where we want to go, we sat down at this table. I remember it was a poorly lit room and it smelled weird, but we finally had this vision documented. We know what we want to do. It was way bigger than what we were doing. Okay. Highland Homes was about $3 million a year in revenue at that point. $3 million a year. They're making it. It's good. That's good money for a couple of people. I was bored with it. We wanted way more. Okay. So we set our visions way, way, way higher than that. And half the people in the room, I'll be honest, looked at the vision and said, I don't think that's possible. But remember, decide where you're going and then how you're going to get there. We quieted those doubts in our minds. We set the vision and then we went to work getting there. How did we get there? Well, I can tell you this. None of us in the room had ever built a company the size of the one that we had just envisioned. It was brand new to us. This was nothing more than a dream at this point, right? We all looked at that and said, gosh, yeah, that would be cool. Let's do that. But we don't know how to do it. So what's the first thing you do? Well, I'll tell you, and I've done this before. You can sit in your enclosed room with your limited knowledge, and you can beat your head against the brick wall, and you can yell at each other and scream at each other while you try to solve something you've never solved before. It on occasion has worked, I suppose, through the annals of time. People have discovered things that way. There's a better way. Okay. The better way is to build a network. Go ask somebody, hey, you got where we want to go. How did you do that? Right? You got where we want to go. How'd you do it? And you know what we call that? You call that networking. And I will tell you, remember the little kids sitting in the grass picking dandelions? A petrifying fear of reaching out to strangers. Totally uncomfortable. Could barely feel comfortable reaching out to people I knew, right? Talking on the phone as a kid. I remember my dad being mad at me because I couldn't make phone calls when I was a 12-year-old kid because I was terrified of calling people that I didn't know. But here I am telling you, looking at this daunting vision, it was more comfortable for me to go and ask somebody I didn't know how they got to where I want to get to than it was for me to sit in a room with people that had no idea how to get there, right? So we started doing that. We started making phone calls. We started emailing people. We started attending seminars. We started using the limited resources we had to fly across the country and invest in our knowledge and learn how to do what we hadn't done before. Guys, I know this sounds simple, but I'm telling you, it happens to this day. Daily, it happens to me in the businesses I work in, where you sit down and you have a vision and an idea, and the first thing you do is start jumping in to the network that sits immediately in that room to solve a problem that you don't know how to solve. It's intuitive. It's our first thought. We're independent, especially as entrepreneurs. We're independent thinkers, right? We dream, we envision. So we are encountered with a problem and we start going to work thinking how we're going to solve it. Okay. But you have to catch yourself. You've got to catch yourself and realize that the answers probably lie outside of the room. They probably lie on the other side of a phone call or on the other side of a computer or on the other side of the country. And you've got to go talk to those people. They will network with you. They will help you. Now, listen, I'm going to be real quick about this, but there's some key things about networking. You got to listen to me. Don't dismiss this. You will find people to network. People are eager, and especially people that will take your money. People will let you pay them to network with you. And don't think that paid consultations are not networking, because they are. A paid consultation will not always be a good fit for your company because they won't always be aligned on your vision. You have to protect that vision with your life. You worked so hard to build it. It's what you believe in, and that belief is ultimately what's going to push you through all the hard work that is required of you to get there. If your network doesn't share that vision or doesn't support that vision, abandon the network. It's not the right opportunity. Go find somebody that does. Don't let them convince you that your vision is wrong, because that is not the truth. Your vision is the only thing that's right with your company. Your vision is the only thing that's right with your company. And if you've got lots of right things with your company, I'm telling you right now, it's because you've got your vision straight. Okay. So don't let your network convince you that your vision is wrong. Find a network that believes in your vision. After we built a network, and I know I'm moving through this quickly, I would love to take more time, but I got to talk about this. This is really what happened to us. We built this network of people. And as we built this network, you know what? Holy cow, we started to learn things and we started to see, oh my gosh, our vision is not unattainable. Our belief grew as we went and saw other people that had done exactly what it was we wanted to do. So we went out, met with these people, built this network, built strong relationships, still have those relationships today. It's phenomenal. They're wonderful. They're a big part of our continued growth and our efforts. And we've lifted them and they've lifted us. But as you build that network, you realize, oh my goodness, there's a good chance I'm never going to be able to reach this vision alone. I've got the network and I have a few limited employees inside. Now I need a team that supports this vision and this network that's going to lift me there, because it is your network that will lift you there. So you got to go inspect your team. And what we found is we didn't have enough employees. We didn't have the right people to get us to our vision. Now listen to me. I'll say this again. Your vision isn't what's broken if your team doesn't agree with it. If your team doesn't align with your vision, your team is broken. Understand that. That's difficult. That's a harsh reality, because do you know what that means sometimes? You might have to say goodbye to people that you love and trust, and that love and trust you. But ultimately, if they're not aligned with your vision, you're hurting them and they're hurting you. It's not healthy, right? This is difficult. And you know what? I've been through it. This is actual knowledge. This is earned knowledge, right? This isn't theoretical. I didn't learn this in a textbook. I've worked with people on teams that weren't aligned with our vision, and at the temptation of changing the vision to save a relationship, I've had to cross that hard road several times where I changed the relationship and spared the vision. And in the end, the vision helped the relationship grow healthier, even if that meant parting ways. If you can follow that, okay? We started to build a team. We got the right people on board to execute the systems and processes that were put in place with the help of our network. With the right people in place, we could build up these systems that our network taught us to build more rapidly and better. Because guess what? The network knows things we don't, but there are also other people out there that you need to hire internally that are better at things than you are. Believe that. I know. Drink it. Swallow the humble pill. Where we were being asked to build out systems to reach our vision, and we looked in the room of people around us and we realized, my goodness, there's nobody here on this team that knows how to build out that system. So we would hire these people to come in and build a system. I'm going to say this really quick. Don't just hire somebody as a full-time employee to build a system for you. Look first for 1099 help. That's not an employee. Look second to commission-based help, pure commission-based help. Then look for part-time employees. Then look for full-time employees. Guys, I made the mistake too many times of hiring full-time people for either part-time jobs or temporary build-outs. You hire a full-time person to build you a system. The system is built, and then what do you have? Unnecessary payroll and a system. So hire a consultant. Hire somebody to come in and help you build that system, unless it's a system that then needs managed and maintained. Okay. Now I'm burning through this. We did all of these things. And at the end of the day, after our systems were built, our business had gone from $3 million to over $30 million a year. We 10x'd it 5 years. In 5 years, I'm telling you this, and you ask any financial investor around the world this question. If you can 10x an investment, if you can multiply an investment by 10 in a 10-year time period, is that an investment worthwhile? And they will slap you because you're spending the time asking them the question rather than making the investment. Go do it. Yes. Now, what if you can invest in something and it will grow 10x in 5 years? Phenomenal growth. Phenomenal growth because of the vision, the network, the team, the systems. And once the systems were in place, we couldn't stop. You have to have leadership, right? It's a beautiful symphony in my life that I got to go full circle and leave what I loved doing, teaching, lifting, motivating, and inspiring people as a teacher, to go and scratch my business itch for 5 or 6 years. And at the end of that difficult 5 or 6 year road, I got to come back around and be a leader of this system, of these teams, of these networks, of a vision. And most of all, I got to be the leader of a belief mindset. Guys, this is real life. This is a real story. These are the things that really happen in small businesses. They can happen. My life was changed. All right. I'm going back here. You see this. I ended up in Hawaii, something I literally thought in my adult life I would never be able to do. I know for some of you, you're looking at this and say, gosh, I took my family to Hawaii a dozen times over the past 10 years. Good for you. I wasn't there. What's your vision? What's your dream? What's your unattainable thing, right? Go get it. Go get it. You can do it. Okay. This is the way we did it, and it works. It's tried and proven. It's what works, right? You can go do it. I'm encouraging you to go do it. Now, the recap. I experienced immense personal growth, massive business and economic growth, and I've been able to have the impact on others' lives because of this, right? Because of a belief mindset, because I asked the question why. I figured out where I wanted to go, and we made a plan with the right group of people on how to get there. We built a network to support us. We brought on the right people to help us achieve it. We kept moving forward with our systems and our processes, and that's how we did it. And then we let it out, right? We keep leading and motivating and inspiring to keep the machine going, to keep the dream alive, as they say, right? So we end where we started here. Action items. Was there something today I said that motivated you? It might have had nothing to do with business, and that's okay because I don't care. At the end of the day, a happier you and a healthier business. If I can hit the happier you only, then I'm good. I did my job. That's what matters most to me. Was there something you learned that you think might make you happier or might make your business stronger? Now, what are you going to do about it to keep it in motion? I'll tell you, the first thing you can do is go tell somebody. Go tell somebody that something motivated you and inspired you. And then, hey, follow the pyramid I just showed you. What's your vision for getting there? Who's your network to help you achieve that? What team do you have immediately around you to help you accomplish those goals? What systems are you going to put in place to make sure you don't fail? And then how are you going to turn down and mediate for the success of others, right? And lead them. Now, your last action item, I'm here to help. Reach out to me. If anything motivated or inspired you today, talk to me. You can find me here, joinbuildbetter.com, right? Reach out to us wherever you found this webinar. If you're watching a recording of it later, wherever you found this webinar, follow that line back and get to me. I'll help you. It's what I do. It's what I want to do. I'm a teacher at heart, right? I'm a leader by nature. It's what I want to do is help you get your dreams. All right. I love you. I care about you because you're a human being and we're sharing this existence together. It's what we do as people. All right. So take care of yourselves, take care of your families, listen to the dreams in your head. Don't break the vision, break the things that are breaking your vision, and you'll get what you want. All right. I got to check out for now. We'll be back later. We'll do this again. Thanks for chiming in. Love you much.